with this current CBA and the financial constraints around the league, is it harder to trade for those pieces than ever? Because I also wonder, like, a lot of times when we talk trades, we don't really know what the asking prices are and what trades, like, there's not been a lot of movement for a Herb Jones type trades in the market because I think teams are guarding those more and more. Is that also part of this? Like, what's going on this summer with the Lakers, that it's just those kind of trades are not available?
I think that's part of it. I had Bobby Marks on before recording with you guys for a podcast that'll air sometime next week. And Bobby, I asked him straight up, what do the Cavs have to do to go get LeBron?
Yeah.
And just to get, the cap experts' opinion on how difficult things would be. And we already know they'd have to give up $70 million in contracts, hit under the second apron in order to bring on LeBron. And they'd have to remove Garland and Allen and Strus and maybe a little bit more as well in order to make that happen. It's extremely difficult to make big moves. And so I think that is an element of it here with the Lakers where it's like, well, you sacrifice your flexibility in the future and you have to give up a lot in order to get something in return that may not actually make you significantly better.
Yeah.
And so I think with the Lakers, that is in part the position that they're in now, whereas the Clippers, of course, they had some easy moves. Getting Brook Lopez was easy, just like getting Deandre Ayton was easy for them. Drafting Yannick Conan Niedenhauser, a center, with the 30th pick in the first round, that is an easy move to make. The Lakers trading up to get Adu Thiero, fairly easy. These are easier moves that both of these franchises have made as they try to take a leap. And I just think for the Lakers, they have a little bit more flexibility still right now where they're just leaving it out there. And that's where probably the source of the frustration is for the Lakers, whereas Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers, James Harden, they can look at their team and be like, okay, yeah, we've made some really good improvements right here. We have a lot more flexibility. Jason, do you think the Clippers or Lakers are better positioned to win a championship in 2026?
I lean the Lakers still, even though I think the Clippers have I have a ton of respect for the Clippers. I have a ton of respect for the way they're run. I think Ty Lue's a great coach.
Setting up that criticism.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a big believer in Kawhi Leonard. I think most of his issues have been health related. Yeah. But I still think, and I've seen this big wave of takes over the course of the last 6 months centering around depth. And I don't want to sit here and pretend like depth doesn't matter in the NBA. It certainly does. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander won the title this year. The Celtics, Tatum, it wasn't the best basketball he ever played, but they had 5 dudes who on the open market would fetch over $30 million a year. Previous year, Jokic, Steph, Giannis, LeBron. You still need one of those guys. And I still think Luka, like that Dallas Mavericks roster that went to the finals, really good roster. It wasn't what we would consider to be a talent in position. Like they weren't going to just win on paper. They were winning off of guys excelling in roles off of what Luka does. And so Luka, both in a vacuum as a superstar, but also the way he matches up with some of the teams at the top. Like I like his ability to attack bigs in space and to attack smalls. I think it's a useful trait to have against an Oklahoma City, against even a Houston. And so with that being the case, I still think there's this star upside with LeBron and Luka in LA that the Clippers just don't quite have. And I'm a big believer in James Harden. Harden getting the paycheck to me is such a testament to what his skill set is. Another paycheck, because guess what? Throw him in 1,000 pick and rolls every year, and he's going to get, a 115 offensive rating out of that action because he's just still so surgical there and there's so much value there. But I just don't see the same upside.
Just not in a Game 7.
I mean, hey, you got to respect those Rockets actually going for it against those Warriors teams, which is kind of what teams are thinking now. It's OKC, they win the title. They just re-signed SGA, re-signed Jalen Williams, re-signed Chet Holmgren. Yep. They drafted last year Nikola Topic, who shined in the Utah Summer League, and we'll see him here in Vegas. They drafted Thomas Sorber, who I had as my top-ranked big, and perfectly fits into that Isaiah Hartenstein role at some point in the future when Hartenstein leaves and they need to replace that salary number. So, OKC's built to win for a long, long time. And obviously things can change, but their draft pick situation makes them unique. Houston reloaded. Yep. Other teams in the Western Conference. Denver, I think the Michael Porter Jr., the Cam Johnson improvement is big. Jonas Valanciunas is the best backup center of the Jokic era. Daron Holmes, who tore his Achilles on that floor out there a year ago, also could be the best backup center of the Jokic era as well. So Denver's better. Houston's better. Other teams in the West are better. We'll see about Minnesota. Maybe Terrence Shannon fills the Nickeil Alexander-Walker minutes and they end up better with more of an offensive presence. Maybe Rob Dillingham takes those minutes alongside Mike Conley and becomes the spark plug that Tim Conley valued trading up a year ago in the draft. So the West is loaded. Like, duh. Like everybody knows that. And so I think, when you think about the Lakers and the Clippers are going for it. The Lakers are like, yeah, we'll stick with what we have. And that's where I look at these teams. I'm like, yeah, but are we sure OKC's unbeatable? It's hard to go back to back, man. It's
under any
really
circumstances.
hard.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I would say, so if Luka comes back and looks like an MVP, a lot of these
That's when you make
conversations
the deal?
become.
So you wait until then.
I wait until then.
He proves it.
He proves it. And also, what is on this roster currently starts to look a lot better if that's the Luka we get. We were talking offline earlier. One of the things the Lakers didn't have last year was a lot of downhill pressure, and that really reared itself against the Minnesota team. Like, they had nothing. And Luka, though, if Luka gets into the kind of shape that he's looking like he's going to get in, and he is able to be a downhill player again, he was not that at all last year with the Lakers. All of a sudden, the floor looks different. The players look different. Everything starts to looking different. And the ceiling of this team may raise just based on that. And I will say the Clippers, yes, they are going for it, but they're at the tail end of whatever they're building.
No choice.
There's nothing
there's
left,
literally
right?
no choice.
Like,
but-
their timeline is 1 or 2 years, and then this is all going down, right? They're going to tear it apart. They'll be in a position to make a case to Giannis and Jokic about, hey, do you want to be in the next era? But they're not confronted with a young MVP level player who's still well early in his prime. And so the timelines are naturally very different. And the Clippers have done a great job. And I echo everything he said. I really respect the way they run. Ty Lue is maybe my favorite coach in the NBA. Like, I think he's completely underrated.
The Lakers weren't so cheap. He'd be their
Oh,
coach.
dude,
Maybe
there's
with
so
their
many
new-
stories.
Maybe the worst thing from that era was them letting Ty Lue.
Him and Alex Caruso. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
those
just
two,
like,
those two,
come
yeah.
on, man.
Oh.
So,
Maybe
but-
with new ownership, Lou would have been the coach, right? And maybe he will be someday.
Maybe.
You never know, right?
Yeah, maybe. Hey, no, JJ's good. JJ's good. Although JJ, we were joking, like, the Deandre Ayton signing has been great,
Oh,
but
JJ's gonna hate him.
Oh,
JJ's
dude.
patience is going to be tested like more than
That was
ever.
an aneurysm. Jeez. I feel bad in some ways for DeAndre Ayton. Like, he's gonna get glares from Luka.
Oh, yeah.
And I know
don't know that
I
this
know
is
it's
a perfect-
self-imposed.
I know this is the perfect environment. If Ayton's going to resurrect his career anywhere, this is the team and this is the situation for it to happen in.
It's going to be spectacular. It's just either going to be failure or success. It's going to be
It's true.
spectacular.
It's true.
though.
Well, tell me with Ayton, he gets traded by Phoenix, Jason. Booker didn't want him. Chris Paul didn't want, or Kevin Durant didn't want him, I should say, at that time. He goes to Portland. They don't want him. They draft another center in Yang Hansen. They draft Klingon last year. They get rid of Ayton despite him still being fairly young. For a lot of people who don't watch Blazers games, Jason, can you explain why he became a guy that wasn't wanted by his last two teams? And is there any reason for optimism with him in the Lakers?
Well, I mean, there are on-court issues. Obviously, his motor runs hot and cold. There are criticisms of his screening. Portland ran him in a comically deep drop coverage because they didn't trust him to do his job, basically, in action. Their defense was substantially worse with him on the floor versus off. All of that's true. I look at the situation in LA as essentially the right time to make a bet on Ayton because he's 26 and he's at a fundamental crossroads in his career. If he messes this up by being unprofessional off the court, by not taking care of his body, by not doing what the Lakers need him to do. Yeah, exactly. No icy roads. Yeah, exactly. So if he blows it, he could very easily never get a legitimate long-term deal in the NBA again. But one of the most fascinating things to me over the last few years is like starting center money is real. Like if you're a middle of the pack starting center in the NBA, you're getting $25 million a year. So with that being the case, like if he goes in and his skill set meshes perfectly with Luka and LeBron, specifically even with the screening issue, Luka is one of the most gifted people at getting a defender out of position and on his hip even without a screen. So like even if Ayton's slipping too fast out of screens and rolling hard, I think that fits reasonably well with Luka. I think it'll be a bigger issue with someone like Austin, something to keep an eye on, or LeBron. But with Luka, there's a ball screen fit that's supernatural. He's just so much more talented than anybody they've had at the position there. There's a version of this story where he puts up, multiple 20-20 games, a few 30-15 games, averages close to 20 points and 12 rebounds a game, and signs literally a 4-year, $120 million deal at the end of that is a seriously achievable outcome for him. Now, at that point, I don't want him on my team anymore. but for that first year, I think it could be pretty nice.